Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of Ain't That Something? And y'all, listen, we are in the thick of it of cuffing season, right? Like, we are literally 9 days away from Christmas. So, oh my gosh, the exes, let's go Grinchless. No, I'm serious though. Like, this is when it gets real tough. And I think that the more we really come to grips and realize the fact that we're humans and we are going to have these moments of weakness, it's good to have a reminder. It's good to have someone in your conscious mind saying, listen, I know this is tough, but you can do it. And although we may feel like this is a cliche kind of, response, it's very important to, again, understand that we're going to have our moments of weakness. We're going to have our moments of, dang, I gave in. But it's okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't be so hard on yourself, especially when pressure and especially when a season is all jolly and you got reminders of, people in relationships and you're still single. It is a real thing to, fall under that pressure and feel like you're not adequate to being in a relationship. But you can't get in your head about it, and you want to be positive. And even though you may have somebody that you've been going back and forth with, or, you've spun the block a few moments, a few times, and they send you that IMY, okay, or what you doing, or the eyes, all of those things that we have been discussing this season, just know that you're not the only one, right? There's so many people that are going through this. And I feel like the reason why they get trapped and going through it is because they have not healed. They have not done the work. And that's because the work is hard. It's easier to stay doing the same thing that you have been doing because you're comfortable. That person is predictable. You already know what their in and outs are. And sometimes that can confuse us into thinking that just because I know this person, I know their ways, I know their patterns, we've been together all this time, or so much time has been invested in this type of relationship, that does not mean that he or she is the one for you. It just means that you're stuck. You're stuck on a hamster wheel going round and round and round, thinking that you're really going somewhere and you're not. And you might get flung off, but just like little hamsters, you get right back on it. Okay, so, you really want to reevaluate, take the time, focus on yourself, and really reflect on the things that you need to work on yourself, right? And sometimes this can be extremely difficult because maybe you are not aware of what it is that you need to do, or what it is that is keeping you stuck in a place. And so here are some tips. All right. Ask for feedback, right? That person that you going back and forth with on y'all good day, just ask them, hey, what do you think about me? Or what do you think other guys think about me? Because, even though you're putting yourself in a vulnerable situation to ask that person, but you're dealing with them and they're the last one that you quote unquote have been dealing with, just put it out there in a conversation and see what you get, see what they say, right? And it may come off very far-fetched, it may even offend you or something, but still take it in. Then ask your friends, ask your closest friends, like, honestly, transparency is key. Like, just ask your friends, like, what do you think are some things that I can do? And then if you don't have that, or if you're not wanting to go into that space, or, you know, engage with that type of conversation with good friends and all the things, then get yourself a therapist, because that is going to be your trail to this new journey of self-help and working towards making yourself be the better version of yourself. If you get through this holiday season, because we still got New Year's now. Okay, it ain't all the way over. And then following, not so much later, you got Valentine's Day. Okay, so these are this about 12, 14 week little window, I think is the most challenging, because it can really put you in a place where you fall back into a position with someone who is not really for you. And that's hard to hear sometimes, because we know how difficult it is getting back in the space of dating and, putting ourselves out there. And a lot of times we are resistant to getting out there and dating because of all the horror stories, our past experiences. We just don't want to deal with that. And it's easier for us to just deal with what we know. But again, am I going to deal with what I know and still get the same result, still be, disappointed that it's not, there's no change, there's no gain in it. So all that time that you have invested, them 12 weeks, 14 weeks, 20 weeks of dealing with somebody for a short period of time, those weeks you could have been doing something for yourself. You could have been looking into ways to practice more positive affirmations. You could have looked into ways of being more involved and doing things that are helping others, or working in a toolbox of, okay, I need to make my list of what it is that I want to do, and comparing that to the things that I need to do to get that, right? And setting those goals. So for a moment, just take the blinders off. Allow yourself to really look at yourself, reflect back on who you are as a core, and be honest with yourself. Because a lot of times we play like we don't know what our hangups are and what we are still so comfortable with. We play like we don't know what it is, but you know what it is. You really do. But it's fear that prevents us from really tackling that, because it may unlock all these emotions of pain and things that we've kept away, that we have not addressed. And we don't address it because it's going to hurt, and because it's going to remind us that this person hurt us, this other person did this to us. It's going to hit you like a ton of bricks. So it's really, really about letting go of that and stepping out and being like, you know what? I'm going to face this head on. I'm going to address the pain that I have experienced and dealt with, and I'm going to begin the steps of healing. And again, I come from a place of concern and help for young women that are in this place. And I say young women because, we all are surrounded in this society like, oh, you getting up there in age, you in your 40s or you in your 50s. But it's like, at the end of the day, a lot of times we have been operating in such a way from our 20s because we never got the exposure and the lessons or the experience on how to really be treated properly in relationships, how to actually, what our role is in relationships. And all of those things seem to trigger a lot of times when these conversations come up about like, what's your role, what you bring to the table. All of that is just like trigger words because of how it's trending in society and how it has this kind of negative stigma to it. And we know why, right? Because there's an audience and a group that puts so much energy and effort on making it a negative and pointing out the negative in women versus looking at it like, okay, this is some advice that I can maybe apply to my life or look at in a different light, in a positive way. And how can I shift and adjust? And so with that, sometimes we are blinded to what it is that we need to do upon ourselves. We've been operating in a way that is so immature. You know, sometimes when we think back to our first relationships or our first dating experiences, many of us don't really have true dating experience. You know, you might have gave somebody your phone number back in the day or, you know, talked to somebody on the phone for a while and thinking you get to know them. And then boom, we're together. We go together. But there wasn't the true process of getting to know that person outside of just talking on the phone or just going, you know, to simple things like the movies and all of that. Like that level of dating is really on the very basic foundation building of dating, to be honest. You know, it's like, and not only are women stuck here, sometimes men are stuck in this place too. They have not had true relationships that allowed them to grow, or they didn't realize that they were supposed to grow in those relationships and have these experiences. So they only know one step to getting with a woman. And the same thing applies for the women. They only know one step of being with a man. And a lot of times they are picking the same man because that's all the experience they've had. That's all the experience they know. And they find themselves still kind of behaving as though they are still in their 20s or even their teenage ways because they have not grown from that. They have not really had experiences where there was stages of the relationship that allowed you to really get to know this person, really build and work towards the goal of being that person's partner. A lot of times, you know, we just talk to somebody, we think they cool, we go out to dinner with them, we chilling with them and everything, and there's no build up to really waiting for that guy to ask you, hey, will you be my girlfriend? Or, you know, I think we need to take it to the next step because I enjoy being around you. So I want to see where this relationship can go further. And I would like to do that with you exclusively. But there is just a miseducation on that. And a lot of that does not occur. It's just, you got to know this person. It's a good vibe. Okay, we talking. There's so many people that are literally in the talking stage and been in the talking stage with somebody for years, right? Y'all just talking. And then that leaves this very gray area of, what are we? And then you pose the question to that individual and it's just the same old, same old. Don't be stuck in that. Don't be stuck in the talking stage. Be able to recognize, you know, is this person serious and intentional? And that, again, that also is required of you as a woman that is being courted, or however you want to put it. Sometimes that's a trigger word for people. Lord have mercy. Can't even say courted. But truly being, you know, pursued by a man. He's truly trying to get to know you because he has a goal in mind. He's not playing no games with you. He's not here just to, you know, have fun. And what I mean by have fun, that's just just kicking it, just hanging out, get a little here, there, get, little fun with you. And that's it. Yeah, y'all might go on some cool trips. You might even meet his family. You might even introduce him to your family. But his mindset is that this is just for fun. He's not being serious, and I think that these terms and such just get kind of overused and get a little bit muddy because we're not fully understanding the true method of dating and getting to know someone, because we are bringing on both ends, on the man's end and the woman's end, we are bringing all of this baggage of undealt with traumas, undealt with pain and disappointment. All of that is being brought to this new situation. And neither one of the people are trying to address it because they're comfortable and they don't want to feel the pain. You know what I mean? And so that's how we get caught up with what you doing, what you about, what you've been up to. I miss you, all of the things. We fall into that pattern of thinking that is just the way it's supposed to be or the way it's going to be. And it doesn't have to be, okay? It's literally a game changer when you focus on yourself, you create goals for yourself, and it feels foreign. It feels unreal and fake, right? Because you're just like, this ain't what I'm used to. But it's just like going to the gym and working out. You're not used to picking up heavy weights. You're not used to being on a treadmill and running for a long distance and your heart hurting and you're breathing hard and all of the things. You're not used to it. But the end result is that you're going to be stronger. You're going to be healthier. And so you got to change your mindset to being in that space, and it's not too late. You may be like, dang, she right, because all these years have went by. I've invested in this person. I thought it was going to work out. I thought they were going to change. And now all these years have gone by. I really don't want to go back out there and try to start over, but I have no choice because I now see the light. It's like when we go work out and we put in all this work to get our physical selves to the best. And then we say, oh, okay, I'm going to go back to, I don't have to go to the gym. I'm good. And then you wind up falling right back into that place. I'm a victim of that. I'm going to get in the gym. Okay. But at the end of the day, it's very, very important that you encourage yourself and, allow yourself to hear different, ideas of how you can do that, because it's not easy. It's not an easy journey to be on, and it's easier to stay connected to someone because your emotions, or you think that this person is the one for you and you just need to give them some more time. But trust me when I tell you, that is not what is meant for you. That is not what you deserve. You don't deserve to be with someone who is not going to be 100% involved and giving his best effort to you and to make you feel loved and appreciated. That is the bare minimum. That is what comes with the total package. That's not something that you have to work hard to receive. That should be fresh out the gate, how that person treats you. And if you know your worth, if you know what you deserve, you will be able to weed out the ones that are not going to do that. You can see it. It's literally like the third eye is open. You're like, oh, okay, I see what this is. No, I'm not going to entertain this right now because I know what you want. I know what you're not about, you know, which leads me to a very funny story because, speaking of knowing how to weed out, um, I had a conversation not too long ago about the YNs. And, I have to segue into this because this is a true example. But, now that many of my friends, we are in that 40 range, we are all in that early 40s, we climb in the ladder. Okay. And it's very interesting in real life, not what others say, but it's really interesting in real life when you get approached by a young man who is barely 30 years old. Like, I have to tell you, it's a different kind of vibe because you're like, wait a minute, are you really talking to me? Because statistics say that young men ain't really paying attention to no older woman, So it's very funny when it happens. And it happened to me not too long ago. A few months ago, I was just washing my car, minding my business, doing my little thing, vacuuming it out because I like to, have a nice clean vehicle when I drive in. And, I'm just vacuuming away, not paying attention. And I look up, it's a man right there. I'm like, oh, hello. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry to startle you. How you doing today? Da, da, da. Coming with this rap. Okay. And, the first thing that gave me the indicator that this was a young man was that after him saying like, oh, I'm sorry to startle you, I just wanted to talk to you for a second. How old are you? I was like, oh, Lord, come on now, children. That is not how you approach a woman. And, I'm like, I'm 40 something or whatever. And he's like, what? Oh my God. Well, I just was, checking you out. I wanted to know if you was seeing anybody. And I'm like, yeah, I'm involved. I got a relationship. I'm good. And, he was like, oh, what? And, just trying to do his thing. But eventually the young man moved on. And I thought it was very funny because I was just like, oh my God, I'm there. I'm in this stage. And then I was talking to a good, friend of mine not too long ago, and the same thing happened to her. But it was just so funny because it's like these really are YNs. Like, these are dudes that are tatted up, dreads, goals in the mouth, like literally looking like Kevin Gates. Oh my God. I'm like, I'm scared of you. Like, no, stay far, far away. And it just reminds me of like when you are in high school and you're a senior female that, a lot of guys may find attractive, or, they checking you out, and you got that little freshman that's like, I'm going to bag that. I'm going to get that. I'm going to get her. So that's what it reminds me of. And so when these, different individuals mention that women, as they get older, are less desirable and all of this fluff, it's just comical because it's not the truth. You know what I mean? Like, aside that, like, there are healthy relationships where the woman is older and the man is younger, and he may be significantly younger, like 8 years younger, 15 years younger, whatever, right? It happens. I personally definitely think there's a limit to that. Like, I don't agree with you dating somebody, and this is my opinion, but I don't agree with there being like a 20-year age gap. Like, that is just out of line. Like, that is just out of line. Like, what do you have in common with somebody that could literally be your child? Like, you could have had a child at 20 years old, and that could be him or her. Like, it just doesn't add up to me. And for those that are doing it and, like they're in that space. I'm just confused. I mean, I'm like, I guess it works. I mean, whatever floats your boat, but I just think that's just on a whole nother level of extreme. You know, and I just don't think that the relationship is truly going to be healthy. And maybe it is. I mean, I don't know. I'm just speaking from my opinion, right? But I just really don't see how someone when you pass a certain age range of you're, 20 years older, 19 years older, 18 years older than somebody, how can you relate? What are y'all relating about? Unless you're in the same business, maybe. I don't know, but it just comes off extremely strange to me that you would want to be with someone who is that much younger and that much of an age gap because of all of the things that person doesn't know, what they have not experienced. And again, is it truly a relationship that they are genuinely about you? Or are they genuinely there wanting to care and love you without any other expectation or any other agenda? Because I'm just like, I'm just going to say it, if somebody is 20 years younger and it's a female and she's dating a male that's 20 years or more older than her, and this man is well off and, has millions or all this kind of money, like, I can only think that that's why she's with that guy. She's with him because he has this space or the means to set her life up in a way where she doesn't have to work and she doesn't have to do much. Like, she can just be this arm candy and be in a relationship with him, and she's going to reap the benefits once he croaks over. I'm sorry to be so blunt. But sometimes that's not the case. Sometimes, that relationship, you're not going to get anything from it. Like, you may have invested yourself and thought you were going to, hit the jackpot because this man was, in his 70s and you 25. Girl, no, because now you're going to have to deal with his family that is going to block that. Okay, now in reverse, you have an older woman who is dating a young man. Now, I've seen it where it's like this older woman dating the younger man. The younger man is looking at this woman as a source to allow him to be taken care of and not have to worry about things financially and such, because she is pretty much that provider. She's in that role. But there are cases where it is also reversed with that money aspect. Like, you are an older woman and you done got you a little boy toy and locked him down and got pregnant by him because he done signed so much money. That is like, how is that going to be a healthy relationship? Especially when all parties involved have that realization of like, this is what you really are doing, right? And of course, from the outside looking in, I don't know what people's relationships are like, but I can only look at what history has told us and what has shown us. And anytime these type of like extreme year gaps have happened, there's always some type of gain. There's always some type of monetary gain that is the goal. So I have my thoughts on that. And I mean, if people want to go that route and go through that, then all right, more power to you. But like, at the end of the day, like, that is just next level. I wouldn't do it. I'm not about that life. So moving right along. When it comes to women and you're getting older and you feel like this narrative that you are undesirable is put in your face. Trust me, it's not. It's just what is the topic at hand. This is just something to get people buzzing and everything. But in reality, no, that's not the case, right? There are plenty of women that can have long-lasting, healthy relationships with men that are younger, and the same for men. Like, they can be in long-lasting, healthy relationships with women that are younger. But I'm just talking about those extreme cases where it's like, oh, okay, that's pretty weird. That's predatory. Like, you're 19 years old and you got with a 60-year-old man. Like, come on. That just is like automatically, like, you already know what's up with that, and to each his own. But why go through that kind of suffering in relationship? I don't know. Money is the root of all evil. That's what we'll say right there. People will do things because they want to feel security and they want to, be, I guess, in a better situation. They want to get themselves out of bad situations. And if it means sacrificing being with somebody older, then hey, they gonna do it, right? It's what it is. But anyway, I'm not going to hold you guys that much longer with this topic, but I definitely want to circle back and just remind you that, hey, the holidays are hard. And if you do respond and you do leave that door open that we have been talking about, again, think about it. Just, think twice about it. Take a moment and realize that it's never too late to reverse it, right? Like, even if you fall for it for a moment and you go ahead and indulge in being in that relationship with someone, just understand that at any time you can reverse this, and at any time you can meet somebody new. Like, you can literally have this kind of situation happening and be like, you know what, today is not the day. I'm not going to respond back. I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm going to take a step forward for myself and put myself in a different position. And listen, the doors will open, okay? There will be somebody better than that. Like, there will be someone that is going to treat you the way you are supposed to be treated, in the way that you deserve. So if you're thinking that what you're dealing with is the best that you're going to get, and this is the best that you can do, you are sadly mistaken. You are cutting yourself short. You are allowing a negative concept to control you into thinking that this is all that you can do. And that's not the case. Like, you can be in a relationship that is of health and of substance and grows into something that is long lasting, and that person be with you for the rest of your life. But it takes the work. It takes you taking the time to do what is necessary so that you can maintain it. Because I can guarantee you, the man that you're supposed to be with, you probably have passed him up or been introduced to him or been in the same space as him. But because you're not ready, and the universe feels that you're not ready, and God feels that you're not ready, then like you're not going to get that blessing until you complete and learn the lessons that you were supposed to learn and do different things. You truly have to be honest with yourself and say, okay, there are errors in my way. How do I correct them? Right? How do I truly take a moment and look in myself and do that? So I hope this conversation gave you a little encouragement, gave you a little laugh, a little chuckle here and there. And we'll do it all again next Tuesday. I'm looking forward to the upcoming holiday. We got Christmas around the corner. And just a lot of time with family and good times with friends ahead. So I hope that is the case for you all. And until next time, ain't that something?